good day! It's me, Reyna Necesito, a third-year nursing student from Negros Oriental State University. In this video, I will be discussing about abuse and violence. To start, in this chapter, we talk all about the domestic abuse such as intimate partner abuse, elder abuse, child abuse, and rape. And also in this chapter, I will be discussing the disorders associated with abuse and violence such as post-traumatic stress disorder or PTSD and the dissociative disorders. Abuse is a wrongful use or maltreatment of another. So the perpetrator is typically someone the person knows. The victims of this are most likely the spouses, children, and elders. Then talk about the characteristic of violent families. So family violence is composed of spouse battery, neglect, and physical, emotional, or sexual abuse of children, elder abuse, and marital rape. So there are common characteristics regardless of type of abuse such as social isolation, abuse of power and control, alcohol and other abuse, and intergenerational transmission process. Intimate partner abuse. So this is the mistreatment or misuse of one person by another in context of emotionally intimate relationship. The relationship may be spousal, between partners, boyfriends, or girlfriends, or an estranged relationship. So this abuse can be emotional, or psychological, physical, sexual, or maybe a combination. Psychological abuse, so it also called emotional abuse. So it includes name calling, belittling, screaming, yelling, destroying of property, and making threats, and also such as refusing to speak to or ignoring the victim. Physical abuse, it ranges from shooting and pushing to severe battering and choking. It may involve breaking of limbs and ribs, so it may be internal bleeding, brain damage, and even homicide. Sexual abuse, so it includes assaults during sexual relations, and the victims primarily women, and increased rates during pregnancy. So the prevalence in same-sex relationship, as in heterosexual relationships, victims with fewer protections. Cycle of abuse and violence. So first is the violent episode, next is honeymoon phase, then tension building phase. Assessment. So first you need to identify, then because some of the victims are not commonly seeking direct help for their problems, so in screening or assessment in the patients, you need to use the safe questions. Next is treatment and intervention. So there are some laws related to domestic violence and arrest. So the woman can obtain a restraining order or protection orders, and also shelters, and also the individuals have psychotherapy, counseling, group therapy, support, and self-help groups, and also the treatment for possible PTSD. Child abuse or maltreatment generally is defined as the intentional injury of a child. It can include physical abuse or injury, neglect, or failure to prevent harm, failure to provide adequate physical or emotional care, or supervision, abandonment, sexual assault or intrusion, and overt torture or maiming. There are 4 types of child abuse. First is physical abuse, second sexual abuse, third neglect, and the fourth one is psychological or emotional abuse. So the first one is the physical abuse. So physical abuse is often results from unreasonable severe corporal punishment or unjustifiable punishment, such as hitting an infant for crying or soiling his or her diaper. So intentional deliberate assaults of children include burning, biting, cutting, poking, twisting limbs, or scalding with hot water. The second one is the sexual abuse. So it involves sexual acts performed by an adult on a child younger than 18 years old. So example include incest, rape, and sodomy performed directly by the person or with an object, oral or genital contact, and acts of molestation such as rubbing, fondling, or exposing the adult's genital. So, sexual abuse may consist of single incidents or multiple episodes over a protracted period. So, a second type of sexual abuse involves exploitation such as making, promoting, or selling pornography involving minors and coercion of minors to participate in obscene acts. One is neglect. Neglect is the malicious or ignorant withholding of physical, emotional, or educational necessities for the child's well-being. So child abuse may be neglect is most prevalent type of maltreatment and includes refusal of health care or delayed doing so, abandonment, inadequate supervision, reckless disregard for the child's safety, punitive, exploitative, or abusive emotional treatment. And then the fourth one is the psychological abuse or emotional abuse. It includes verbal assaults such as blaming, screaming, name-calling, and using sarcasm, constant family discord characterized by fighting, yelling, and shouts, and emotional deprivation or withholding of affection, nurturing normal experiences that endanger acceptance, love, security, and self-worth. Assessment for child abuse. So identification is also very important. So here are some of the warning signs of abuse and neglected children. Treatment and intervention. So the child must have safety or well-being a priority. So psychiatric evaluation, long-term therapy, play therapy for a very young child, and also family therapy in reuniting feasible, and also psychiatric or abuse for parents or foster care. Elder abuse. So elder abuse is the maltreatment of older adults by family members or caregivers. It may include also physical, sexual, psychological, neglect, and financial exploitation and denial of adequate medical treatment. So there are 60% perpetrator spouses, 20% for adult, and 20% for others. So people who abuse elders always in caretaker rule or hurdle this depend on them in some way. So elders often reluctant to report abuse due to fear of alternative. Assessment of elder abuse, there are some potential indicators. Next is the treatment and intervention. So maybe it comes from caregivers stress relief, additional resources, or possible removal of the elder or the caregiver. Rape and sexual assault. So it is a crime of violence, humiliation of victim expressed through sexual means. So perpetration of act of sexual intercourse with female against her will and without consent. So it is whether it will be overcome by force, fear of force, drugs, or intoxicants. Dynamics of rape. So there are 4 categories of male rapists. So the first one is sexual sadist, second one is exploitive predator, the third one is inadequate men, then the fourth one is men for whom rape is displaced expression of anger. And treatment and intervention, so you need to do the immediate supports and also educate the patients, and here the warning signs of relationship violence. So also prophylactic treatment for STIs, then therapy to restore victims' sense of control. community violence, school violence, homicide, suicide, theft, violent crimes, bullying. Bullying is experienced in school, includes verbal aggression or physical abuse, and then hazing. Hazing is most prevalent in high school and college. Exposure to community violence is that immediately affects children and young adults. So early intervention and treatment is the key for the victims of community violence. Thank you. That's all for abuse and violence. So don't forget to share and subscribe.